Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel.
Back up on my bullshit, back up on the scene. Done dealing with you, don't know how to deal with me. Done fucking with you, don't know how to love me. Done dealing with you, so
Today this video is going to talk about the different tracks in veterinary medicine and how you can decide what track actually fits you as you become a future veterinarian. Now I want to start a disclaimer by saying that every school is different, but I'm going to speak on my experience in Virginia, Maryland because that's where I've been for the last 4 years. So take this with a grain of salt and definitely do your own research with the schools that you're interested in to make sure these tracks still align with your school. So let's go ahead and get into this video. First and foremost, I already have my notes ready and they're right in front of me. So if I'm looking down, I'm looking at my notes, okay? The first thing I'm going to talk about is a small animal track, which is primarily focused on the medicine and surgery of canines and felines, which are just the fancy terms for dogs and cats. The next track that we have in Virginia, Maryland is called our food animal track, which concentrates on the medicine and surgery of food and fiber producing animals, including your cattle, camels, llamas, alpacas, pigs, you name it, they treat it. They do all the things related to food and production medicine. Our next track is equine, which is a fancy word for horses and primarily focuses on the surgery and medicine associated with those species. Our next track in Virginia, Maryland is called the mixed animal track, which is actually my track, where it's not really focused on a specific type of animal, but it's kind of a little bit of everything. You can kind of have a little bit of small animal, a little bit of large, a little bit of equine, a little bit of exotic. You get a little bit of everything. It's like a charcuterie board, but for vet med. And I love a charcuterie board, which is probably why this is my track. Our fourth track in Virginia, Maryland is the public corporate track, which focuses primarily on government, research, and industry medicine. If you want to do pathology, that's also something that kind of falls under the public corporate track. So that's kind of more for our veterinarians that want to do government regulations and USDA. That's kind of where you would fall if you were interested in that sector of veterinary medicine. How do you know what track fits you? I think this is a question that I get a lot, and I truthfully think that it comes with experience. Working with things that you know you love and that you know you like kind of puts you more in one area than it does the other. Choosing a track in veterinary medicine does not determine what kind of doctor that you want to be. You could have been a small animal tracker but came out of veterinary school deciding to be a large animal vet. You could have been a large animal tracker and decided to be a zoo medicine veterinarian. So your track does not guarantee you and only put you in that one field. It's just a guideline to kind of help you figure out what you like more of and to give you more experience in that field, so that way when you go out into the world to practice medicine, you are the most prepared for what you decide to work with. For example, I had a lab my first year that involved cattle. I knew very early on in my veterinary career, I don't want to work with cattle. I personally don't like production medicine. I think that if it has fur on it, it is a baby, not a piece of meat. Now, if it's on my plate, it's a piece of meat. But if it has fur on it, to me, it's a baby and it needs to be cuddled correctly. So I knew early on from my experience of having a lab with cattle that I don't really want to do cattle or production medicine or livestock medicine at all. I didn't put a lot of my energy into that track because I knew that wasn't something I wanted to do. Same thing with equine. I love horses. I think they're great creatures, but I have really bad horse allergies. And every time I'm around one, I start sneezing. I don't want to do equine medicine or be in an equine dominated field because of the fact that I have really bad allergies with horses. My all-in-all summary point for picking your track when you get into veterinary school, or even just starting to think about it if you're a pre-vet student, is get as much experience as you can. Getting diverse experience makes your application stand out a lot when you're applying for VMCAS. So make sure that you literally try everything, from exotics to zoo medicine, to pocket pets, to dogs and cats, to aquatics, to horse. Anything that you can get your hands on, make sure that you're trying to do it if you can. Research included. Congratulations, you have now graduated veterinary school and we're moving you to the next level of veterinary medicine. After completing your 4 years of veterinary school, you are now able to literally work with any species. Any species. That is what your DVM entitles you to. And DVM stands for Doctorate of Veterinary Medicine. But once you pass your NAVLE and you graduate with your DVM and your license, NAVLE is a whole nother ball game, but I'll make a video on that soon. You now have all the research and all the understanding to work with these species, which sounds terrifying, but you're the doctor, so you can't be scared now. Just embrace it all. This includes special roles and advanced learning. These are the things that veterinarians can become board certified in: anesthesia, cardiology, dentistry, dermatology, oncology, ophthalmology, in emergency and critical care. You can also be boarded in exotics. You can be boarded in large animal surgery and medicine. You can be board certified in general practice as a general practitioner for small animals. You can be boarded in literally anything that your heart desires. The kicker is this comes with more school after veterinary schools. How long it's going to take you to become board certified depends on the specialty itself, but it can range anywhere from 2 to 5 years, and for some a little bit longer. If you're thinking about being a specialty veterinarian post veterinary school, do your research to determine how long your pathway to getting your board certification is going to actually take. That is something that I might pursue in the future. I do think right now I'm ready to go out into general practice, but if I had to be board certified in anything, it would definitely be dentistry or general practice. So I'm deciding between what am I really interested in. I do also love optho and eyes, but I'm not going back to an internship. And because I'm missing the internship aspect, I don't necessarily know if I can go into ophthalmology. But I know dentistry, you don't need an internship in order to technically be a board certified dentist. All you need is about 5 years of general practice, and they kind of consider that an equivalent to having an internship. This is something that can be universal across multiple specialties. So I definitely recommend, if you're thinking about doing a specialty, to do your research. How do you know if you want to be a board certified veterinarian and if it's really for you? I'll explain on how I know that I might want to do a board certification in the future in dentistry. My second year of veterinary school, I had a dentistry lab and I absolutely fell in love with teeth. Just extracting teeth made me just jump for joy internally. And I really enjoyed it, to the point where third year I took a dentistry specialized course at our school. And I loved it even more. I was in that lab like, woohoo, I was plucking teeth and I was taking x-rays and I was having a time. And I knew that that was exactly something that I wanted to do. I was like, you know what? I could see myself doing this for the rest of my life. However, I'll tell you why I'm not going to dentistry immediately, because that's something that I do have the option to do. If I wanted to do a rotating internship and go into residency, that's something that I could choose to do. The reason why I'm not doing that is because, in my personal opinion, I love GP a little bit more, and I want to be a well-rounded general practitioner and start treating dogs and cats and knowing my medications and knowing my diseases and knowing my drugs and my treatments and all the things before I just jump in and focus only on teeth. I want to make sure I'm well-rounded first, and because of that, I'm going to spend some time in GP. I'll do a lot of dentals, which will still kind of keep that same inner joy inside of me alive, and I'll make sure as I'm going through that process, if I really do feel like, I'm getting tired of GP, I've done it for 5 or 6 years, it's getting a little old, then I'll probably think about going into a dentistry specialty and focusing on becoming a board certified dentist. Just a reminder again that your DVM, it can take you anywhere. You're not locked into one sector of veterinary medicine just because you chose that the first time. You can do that for about 10 years, or 5 years or 2 years or 1 year, and you can say, you know what, I hate it, and do something different. The next sector that I'm going to talk about in veterinary medicine is actually academia. That's something I also do see myself in the future, because I love academia. I love the fact that my school is a teaching school and has a teaching hospital attached to it, because I feel like we learn a lot more because we have our professors teaching us in a clinical setting as well. Academia involves teaching, research, and clinical services at a veterinary college. And that's basically what Virginia, Maryland is. We focus typically on the One Health mindset. I'm going to briefly describe to you what One Health is and its importance in veterinary medicine. One Health is an umbrella term that kind of covers the health of animals, people, plants, and their shared environment, and how all of us work together to make sure that we keep diseases free from the environment, free from our populations, but also keeping it healthy and nourishing it in the same process. We focus on protecting ecosystems, providing food security and food safety for all species, as well as preventing zoonotic diseases. A lot of times in academia, you're going to be teaching about the One Health mindset to new coming veterinarians. I think that academia is super rewarding when you are a doctor and when you have some time to gain clinical practice before coming back to teach, because you're giving back to the next generation of students that are coming behind you. This is something that I love already doing on my channel, so doing it in a clinical setting I think is going to be even better in the future. I definitely see myself going back to academia and teaching at a veterinary school, hopefully my alma mater, in the future. This is something people typically consider when they're retiring or when they're getting close to their retiring age, because they want to focus on something a little bit lower stakes with lower demands and still be able to teach and give back to their community. Academia is not just limited to the veterinary college classrooms, but it's also extended out into veterinarians in the world as well. There are programs out there that are actively teaching veterinarians new things, which is something required in order for us to keep our license. It's called continuing education, or shortened to CE. CE is something that commits you to the continued learning and education that comes with being a lifelong doctor. Imagine if our human doctors stopped studying in medical school. we be kind of concerned because medicine is ever evolving and always changing. This is a plug for a current company called the Vet Tribe. And if you guys have watched my channel or watched my reels on Instagram, you already know that I've talked about the Vet Tribe before and in the past. It's perfect for veterinary students, current veterinarians, and first-year grads. The Vet Tribe primarily focuses on creating courses for busy veterinary students and veterinarians that condense vast amounts of information on various topics. These courses include anesthesia, emergency, canine endocrinology, GI diseases, small animal ophthalmology, and so much more. If you're interested in learning more about the resources the Vet Tribe has to offer, please click the link in my bio down below so that way you can get started with condensing your information today. Especially for my upcoming veterinarians or my current veterinary students, I think these courses would be helpful in making sure that you're preparing for NAVLE correctly and that you're learning the information. Last and final section that we're going to talk about is government or industry. So veterinary medicine, this is a very broad category of plenty of other things that you can do outside of just treating and practicing medicine. These things include sales and marketing, regulatory affairs, food and agricultural security, USDA, forensics, veterinary medicine and pathology, working at an animal shelter, research at universities, in the Air Force or the Army and military, working at veterinary diagnostic laboratories like IDEXX or Antech. And you can also write and publish. This also kind of ties into research because if you're doing research, you're probably writing and publishing. But even as a general practitioner, you can publish and write articles as well. I feel like the government sector has so many things that you can do that people honestly really forget the most about this portion. There are veterinarians who have done GP clinical practice medicine for years and then have transitioned to working for companies like Zoetis, Elanco, or other pharmaceutical companies like PRN Pharmaceuticals. You can work at so many different pharmaceutical companies and be on the back end behind not only marketing new drugs, but also creating and producing innovative new drugs for different types of diseases that are out in the world for different types of species. They recently came out with this new drug called Felicin-CA1, which is sirolimus for cats. This is one of the first ever approved drugs for heart disease in cats. I'm pretty sure if you know anything about cats, you know all about HCM. This drug is new and up and coming, but it seems like a game changer in the field of medicine for cats with HCM, as we know that that is known to be a silent disease that typically cats suffer from and die from randomly. Hearing about this new drug, when I found out about it when I went to VMCAS, and I was like, oh, like I didn't know anything about that. And I learned a lot just talking to the representative about all of that. And the representative was actually a veterinarian. She works with the company who worked with a team of veterinarians to help create this drug. So I want you guys to be aware that veterinary medicine is not just linear. You can also be a state veterinarian that works really closely with general practitioners to make sure we're keeping out zoonotic diseases and foreign animal diseases. You can do so many things with the government sector. So if I said anything that was interesting for you today, make sure that you're taking this back and doing more research. Reach out to people who are already in these roles and make sure that you're getting an understanding of what this role really entails before you just jump head first, and know what you're walking into before you walk into it. I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you have any questions about anything that I talked about, please make sure you comment them down below. But I look forward to seeing you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.